Dear all, Sainik School Satara is celebrating the 22nd Kargil Vijay Divas today. On this special occasion, Group Captain Ujjwal Ghoramade, Principal, Lieutenant Colonel Pramod Patil, Administrative Officer, Wing Commander B. Krishnakant, Vice Principal, Teaching Staff, and non-teaching staff of Sainik School Satara wish you a happy 22nd Kargil Vijay Divas. Let us understand more about Kargil Vijay Divas. On this date in 1999, India successfully took command of the high outposts. The Kargil War was fought for more than 60 days and ended on the 26th of July 1999, when the Pakistani army took advantage of the melting snow and, betraying the bilateral understanding of both the nations that the post would remain unattended during the winter season, took command of the high outposts of India. Kargil Vijay Divas is celebrated on the 26th of July every year in honor of the Kargil War's heroes. This day is celebrated in the Kargil sector and the national capital New Delhi, where the Prime Minister of India pays homage to the soldiers at Amar Jawan Jyoti at India Gate every year. Functions are also organized all over the country to commemorate the contributions of the armed forces. History about Operation Vijay at Kargil War Memorial Divas. A reason for the Kargil War is considered to be the escalating military tensions between the India and Pakistan following the 1971 war between the two countries, which aggravated over time and more recently, culminated in the nuclear tests in 1998. On May 10, the infiltrations were first noticed in Dras, Kaksha, and Mushko sectors. In mid-May, the Indian Army moved in more troops from Kashmir Valley to the Kargil sector, and soon after, the Indian Air Force launched air strikes against the infiltrators. As Pakistan stepped up the attacks, the Indian Army recovered documents indicating the Pakistan government's official involvement. On June 6, the Indian Army launched a major offensive in Kargil. Throughout the month, the Indian Army fought bravely and launched a three-pronged attack in Kargil, which forced the Pakistani Army, bereft of food and supplies, to back down as India's soldiers approached Tiger Hill. The Indian Air Force's role in acting jointly with Indian Army ground troops during the war was aimed at flushing out regular and irregular troops of the Pakistani Army from vacated Indian positions in the Kargil sector along the line of control. This particular operation was given the code name Operation Safed Saga. Recaptured a majority of the positions on the Indian side of the lock infiltrated by the Pakistani troops and militants. Facing international diplomatic opposition, the Pakistani forces withdrew from the remaining Indian positions along the lock. The war is the most recent example of high-altitude warfare in mountainous terrain, and as such posed significant logistical problems for the combating sides.
On July 14, Indian Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee declares Operation Vijay a success, and days later, the Indian Army announced complete eviction of the Pakistani intruders. 527 soldiers from Indian Armed Forces lost their lives during the war.
Sainik School Satara is extremely proud to recall the patriotic contribution of the Ex-Ajinyans in the defense services. Let us hear the awe-inspiring stories of the real unsung heroes of Sainik School Satara. Today, let us commemorate Captain Krishnakant Dharashivkar and Veer Chakrawadi Major Sachin Nimbalkar. Captain Krishnakant Dharashivkar joined Sainik School Satara in the year 1986 after completing his primary education in Lal Bahadur Shastri Vidyalaya, Udgir. His school number was 2718 and he was allotted Nehru House in class 6th and Karve House in class 8 during his stay at Sainik School Satara. Captain Krishnakant completed his secondary schooling from Sainik School Satara and later made it to National Defence Academy Khadakwasla to course number 90 in July 1993 and Indian Military Academy Dehradun before getting commissioned into the Indian Army as the serving officer in 1997. Within 2 years, he received 2 promotions.
War is the golden opportunity for true soldier to prove his mettle. A ship in harbor is safe but that is not what ships are built for. These were the parting words of Captain Krishnakant Kulkarni Dharashivkar to his family before he left for Kukwara in 1999. The conflict in Kargil had just begun. 2 decades later, his family remembers his bravery and the foreboding he had about his death while in the armed services. The second among 3 siblings, Krishnakant had trained at 3 premier military training institutes in the country. At 24, he was leading a 6-member team of the Ghatak Force commandos who act as shock troop and carry out planned assaults ahead of the battalion. When the news of the conflict started streaming in, Krishnakant was home on vacation. He made desperate attempts to cancel the leave and resume service. Bomb splinters had pierced through his heart, making him bleed profusely. His colleague, Sattar, had received splinter injury in his stomach. Despite his injury, Krishnakant ensured movement of the troop till they reached a place from where they could be airlifted. Remembers his elder brother Santosh. No sooner had the unit reached the airlifting site and put Sattar into the helicopter, Krishnakant breathed his last. He performed his duty till the end. He breathed his last only after rescuing the team members. Unfortunately, Sattar could not survive his injury, Santosh says. He credited their late father, Chandrakant, who was a college principal, for shaping Krishnakant's personality. Only the most physically fit and motivated soldiers are enlisted in the Ghatak force. We, the entire family of Sainik School Satara, will remember Captain Krishnakant for his brave sacrifice for our motherland.
Captain Sachin Nimbalkar joined Sainik School Satara in the year 1986 after completing his primary education in Bharat Vidyalaya Umarga. His school number was 2665 and he was allotted Shivaji House in Class 6 and Rana Pratap House in Class 8 during his stay at Sainik School Satara. Captain Sachin completed his secondary schooling from Sainik School Satara and later made it to National Defense Academy, Khadakwasla, to course number 90 in July 1993.
During Operation Vijay, Captain Sachin Nimbalkar, commanding officer of Delta Company, was tasked to capture Tiger Hilltop in the Dras sector from the east in a multi-pronged attack on the night of 3 July 1999. The approach was uneven and the enemy position impregnable. Captain Nimbalkar led his men from the front over inhospitable terrain at a height of 16,500 feet, negotiating torrents amidst intense enemy artillery shelling and fire. Undeterred and retaining his nerves, he advanced towards the enemy position for over 12 hours through darkness and inclement weather. Once close to the enemy position, he established a fire base and with his men commenced cliff assault using mountaineering equipment. He reached the top and caught the enemy unaware. He directed his men to encircle the enemy and fixed automatic weapons to cover enemies' aggression. He started clearing the enemy using combat knives and bayonets. The hand-to-hand scuffle continued till daybreak when the enemy realized what had befallen them and opted to flee. Captain Sachin Nimbalkar had however left no scope for the enemy to flee. 12 enemy soldiers were killed and a large cache of arms and ammunition recovered in this operation. Captain Sachin Annarao Nimbalkar displayed inspirational leadership, ferocity, unparalleled courage and bravery in the face of the enemy, which led to the capture of Tiger Hill. We are very proud of you, Captain Sachin Nimbalkar. Let us get inspired and get ready to serve the motherland, India. Once again wish you a happy Kargil Vijay Divas. Jai Hind.